I'm going to cover now the area of staplers. We have two types of staplers in front of me here. We have a CT45 and a CT60, and they're used exclusively for in the satellite industry for putting in telephone cable and also for putting in satellite cable. For indoor work, it's much better than tacking because it's much faster, much quicker, and you can do a neater job. So I'm going to talk about both together because the mechanisms are virtually identical in both. The first thing I'm going to start off is I'm going to take up, this is the CT60 which we use for satellite cable. I'm going to squeeze this end here and pull out this mechanism, and it'll allow me to actually slot in some staples. Okay? I slot the staples in and I shove them to the end, and I squeeze through here. It has it tightly locked into position. In terms of the force that I'm going to use when I'm pushing in the staples, you see there's a minus setting here and a max setting, so it's an adjustable gain. Normally you'll either set it to the minimum or the max. So I have it here, and this will push in the staples further into the timber. Okay, it's exactly the same mechanism on the far side. And the final thing then is for transportation. You can see how the handle is sticking up here. If you're pushing it into your toolbox, you may want to do this, which is to pull out the handle, push it down, and when you have it in the locked position, push down this knob here and to hold it in position, just makes it slightly easier to transport. Okay, so I'm going to start off now with a piece of RG6 satellite cable. I'm going to pretend that I would like to staple it to a piece of skirting board here. So the first thing I do is unlock this stapler, have it into position. I'll set it to the minimum setting here initially. So you can see it come along, and I simply put the cable, I put the stapler over the satellite cable, and I lock it in like that. So you can see here the satellite cable has been attached, but it's not particularly tight around the cable. Now you may not want it particularly tight for fear of damaging the cable, whatever like that, but in general people will use the maximum setting because it won't cause any damage to the cable. It'll simply lock it quite tightly. So you can see here now with these things here, there's a certain amount of play within the satellite cable, but when I've set it to the maximum setting, it's locked rock solid. So you can see straight away the advantage of using staplers. They're extremely fast and they're extremely neat. You can see how small the staples is. It'll allow you to get right into a corner. If this was a corner here, we can staple right into the corner, whereas that's a hammer trying to get into a corner. You know, it's almost impossible to get it in there. And also with a hammer you have a lot more scope to do damage. These staples come in galvanized and in white. So if you're running internal satellite cable, you do it this way. Now I'll move on to the telephone cable. Telephone cable is a real pain for satellite installers, simply because with Sky multi-rooms invariably you have to connect the boxes, and the telephone point might be some distance away. So to use the small tacks is very time consuming. Also the other point about it is that staples are about a factor of about 8 times cheaper than using ordinary tacks. So that's just material saving, and of course there's a huge labour saving because it's much faster. We'll just work down through. That's it. And you can see how it is. You can choose to tack it much tighter, but it's just a demonstration purpose. So that's the two topics covered. It covers the 4 types of staples. We have CT45 in galvanized and in white, and we have CT60 then for the satellite cable. We have that in galvanized and white as well. And it's a very neat job, and if you're a professional satellite installer, you'd be crazy to be tacking inside when you can use a stapler like this.